Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Hyundai series, part 4. We've got the turbo, but because this job is kind of urgent, we didn't film taking the old one off and putting it on. So,
You're telling the truth, you forgot.
tell you the truth, I completely forgot because we were busy at the time. But the new turbo's on. It's not really that difficult to get off. I'll give you a walkthrough. Start by taking the EGR cooler off, which is 2 bolts or nuts to start with. We actually snapped the 2 studs taking this off because they were that tight. So of course we had to get the manifold warm, extract the studs and rethread them. But these 2 knots down here, let me just get a bit of light on this, there we go, come off quite easily. These are 12mm. Take the cooling pipe off, then you can lift that out in one piece, obviously with this air pipe off as well, go into the turbo intake. When you've got the EGR cooler off, you remove this pipe off the rubber piece that goes down to the sump, which we saw earlier when I was doing the oil pump change. This pipe's metal, so you can, if you can just bend it slightly, you can take this heat shield off. This comes clear of the heater sensor on the turbo, and that is 2 12mm, one there and one behind the EGR pipe. When this piece is off as well, you can take this off. That is one there, that 12mm just in there, and then there's one behind the turbo. When you've got the heat shields off, it's 3 12mm on the turbo, studs, and of course they broke. But thankfully they broke on the old turbo. Now, if I can find where I put the old unit, here we go. They broke off. One of them broke in there, but the nuts came off with the studs off this. Now, because stupid me put the whole unit back together before I filmed it, there's 3 10mm M8 bolts in there now. They are different sizes, so you've got to measure the depth of the manifold and the turbo before you put it on. But yeah, it's not really that complicated. There's an oil feed pipe down there, just there where that banjo bolt is. That can become really seized onto there, so I didn't loosen that. And there's also a turbo oil return pipe just here. If you take the spring clip off, you can lift the turbo away with that oil pipe on. Then of course in the kit you get your turbo unit itself, the 2 gaskets for the downpipe here, and for the flange on the exhaust manifold. You get a copper or a fibrous gasket here, and that's about it really. Of course it does come with a new wastegate, which is good. We have just done another test. I've put a new oil pressure switch in it, so I'm going to show a final floor start with a test light attached, so we can see that. So let's rig it up. Oil light back on. That just confirms we've got good oil pressure, as we saw on the gauge test. We've checked for leaks because we had it cranking earlier when we were figuring out how to do all this, and everything looks good. So I'm going to get the flywheel final torqued, get the starter back off, clutch on, gearbox on. Then we can put it back in the car. So, as my saying goes, check back in a bit. It's finally out the workshop. Whole unit's back together at long last. We've taken it for MOT because the MOT was about to expire. It's all passed. One thing I'm going to talk about, and we'll go inside to talk about it, is the turbo oil feed hose. But all back together, we've done 80 kilometers with it now, and it's perfect. And we've actually got a car in front of us now and not a dust train. But it's all good. When we put the unit back in the car, we ran it up to temperature. Then Dad took it on a test drive and we found a massive oil puddle underneath it. So obviously, with the amount of work we've done on it, we started panicking. Oh, sorry, where's my boroscope? There we go. Boroscope camera saved my sodding life. On visual inspection, it looked like the brand new turbo had a crack in it. So out of desperation, we pulled the transfer box off again, ran the engine, let the gearbox piss oil everywhere. I didn't care. Then we find out it's not leaking from the turbo fitting. It's leaking from the pipe fitting. So we took the pipe out. Unfortunately, because this was sort of desperation job, we didn't film anything. On the turbo feed pipe, there looked like 2 slots or 2 cuts. Now, something I came back to, these copper washers I took off were bloody thick. They shouldn't have been that thick. The new turbo kit didn't come with new copper washers in it, so I checked in our parts store and I found 2 that looked exactly the same, a bit thinner. Banged them on. Running it up to temperature, they were fine. When Dad caned it down the road, as you would, it leaked. So, for the first time in my life, I used a boroscope camera. I'd had this for about a year. And I only bought it because it was on special offer, but that thing saved our bloody lives and it paid for itself tenfold. So, very important tip on a Hyundai or any car with a turbo. Just change the oil feed pipe. Oil return pipe, 90% of the time it's rubber. You know, you can get a pipe for oil pretty much at any parts supply shop. Anyway, we took the turbo off to put the pipe on and leave it loose so we could line it up on the flange on the car. Knock on wood, it's perfect now. We did a further 50k with it, which brought the total up to 130k. And it's fine. No coolant leaks, no oil leaks, no power steering leaks, no gearbox leaks. So I'm declaring that job done. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this series. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Until the next time, guys, see ya.